first saw the reveal trailer for Watch Dogs Legion, I was scared, simply because we didn't know how the play as everyone mechanic was going to work out, and honestly, I thought it would downgrade the personalities of the characters. I was right to be scared in some instances. So, I've been wanting to do this review for a long time now, and just give my general thoughts on Watch Dogs Legion. Please note that I'll be expressing my opinions through categories. These categories will be story, personality, main characters, gameplays, missions, performance, and the comparison between other Watch Dogs games. So without further ado, let's get into the review of my thoughts, because I don't think this is a very professional review. I just want to critique this game. So my first impressions of the trailers for this game gave me a vibe of a real threat, like there was actually going to be some sort of threat, and overall seriousness for most of the story, because a lot of the trailers were quite serious, but in reality the story came off as really like just okay, I guess. And I think quite a lot of the production time focused on the new play as everyone mechanic was the reason. They didn't really focus on anything except that. Well, they obviously focused on story, but also at the same time, because that job is so hard to make everyone playable, that's probably why the story was not as good as the first two games. They have any distinguishing characteristics about him that made him special. He just felt like just really boring. And I even think the best villains we've had is from Watch Dogs 1, but also Watch Dogs 2 had a really good villain, Dusan Nemec. I actually really liked his character, even though a lot of people would disagree. So, yeah, so Mary Kelly sounded more of a threat, which was good. Yeah, actually, my most favourite villain from Watch Dogs Legion was Skye Larsen, and she's probably one of the most interesting villains in Watch Dogs Legion. You would teleport to an alternate plane where you would stop Skye in her virtual house. Even though she had the least gameplay, she actually left somewhat of a dent in the emotions, and I won't give spoilers, but you had to make some sort of decision about her. So, that's for you to find out. Just type in on YouTube Skye Larsen choice, and you'll get spoilers, but I ain't giving spoilers in this. Now let's talk about the the secondary main villain was Zero Day. Zero Day was an okay villain, but the action thrill was trying to stop Zero Day at the end of the game. It came off as okay. Bearing in mind during this review, I will not be saying any massive spoilers. This game took an idea of a comedic pace with the inclusion of Bagley, and while still trying to be serious, it just did not work due to the limited and poorly written lines the main characters you played as had. Also, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure to join DedSec you had to prove yourself. For example, in Watch Dogs 2, at the start of the game, you have to prove yourself to join DedSec as a protagonist, Marcus. However, in Watch Dogs Legion, you have to do a favor for someone. That just made no sense, because I thought you had to prove yourself to DedSec, not join as a favor. Like, I could literally go up to them and ask if I can join. And yeah, and also it was very unrealistic. Like, the characters, you would go up to literally anyone in the game, except like the main villains, and you could literally get anyone in your team with just like that one hack. What is like the data miner or something? I can't remember. Now, bearing in mind, there are positives to this game, but I'm going to go over one of the worst points of the game, and that's the personality. And this is where the game has many flaws. Watch Dogs Legion had many flaws due to the main characters in the game. It's because there was way too many characters in Watch Dogs Legion. There was every character in the game, and because of the stress that the people had to go through for record every voice line, like there was probably like over 20 voice actors. They probably really had a lot of stress trying to voice everyone. So for example, that means you have less of interaction with them. Like, they tried to rush it, and you didn't really feel any emotional connection, because they were pretty much all the same. They just were different voice actors saying different voice lines. But unlike the Watch Dogs Legion, in Watch Dogs 1, you had that connection to Aiden in many emotional ways, and the character in Watch Dogs 2, you really felt connected to the characters and felt a huge part of personality and care that was put into the characters. You could feel the emotion when Horatio died in Watch Dogs 2, and when Aiden went through a tragic loss in Watch Dogs 1. That came off as sad, which Watch Dogs Legion really failed, but there are strong points. I'm just saying just saying I'm not absolutely trashing on this game. Also, what brought Watch Dogs Legion down to the knees was the amount of up and down they tried to make this game. Like, they really tried to make it somewhat of an emotional rollercoaster ride, but I don't think it worked with just Bagley joking all the time. It literally made no sense, and I think that's something they need to work on. They need to work onto the adaptation of trying to work with a serious story while being funny at the same time, and that is what Watch Dogs 2 did pretty good. Also, just want to note, One of the most annoying things in this game was the fact that sometimes you would recruit so many people and then you'd find someone and they've had the exact same voice. It was honestly the most annoying thing in this game. And sometimes you find people that look the same. And I created 2 save files. One save file I had a character, and then the next save file I had another character, and they had like the exact same appearance, but they had just slightly different voices. And some voices that you get sometimes just have really similar kind of voices, just kind of deepened or gone up. So even though there were a variety of voice actors, some of the ones that look kind of normal just had very basic voices. Now, what about the London voices, like the actual voices that were actually made in this game? Well, in Watch Dogs Legion, Ubisoft did really fail in the London vibe, because a lot of the characters in this game they were just really cheesy. They was like really cringe, and they just didn't work in the whole London setting. Like, you can go in London and they're they're literally nothing what Watch Dogs Legion represented. Like, maybe slang, but just in terms of the way it was presented in writing, it wasn't very good. But I will say voice actors were very good. I just think they needed a bit more direction compared to the writing that they were given. Yeah, so there were some strong areas with it, but the rest just didn't work. Like, they used to say like "peng" for killing a guard. It I'm still okay. My headset just turned off. Yeah, I'm still just kind of like, why did they do that? Yeah. By the way, this is a really quick review, so don't expect this to be really like informative. I know I'm doing categories, but I'm just trying to keep myself organized. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the personality, and I just think you need more interactions, because look at Watch Dogs Legion Bloodline. That was incredible. That was a very good DLC, but because they didn't really focus on the actual story, it was just not very good in terms of that. So let's talk about the main characters. So you have the main characters was Bagley, and then it was this other woman. I can't remember her name, but I do remember. Thing is, I played this game like back in October, but I'm doing a review based on my experiences and that. And by the way, if you say that I can't say my opinion, it's because this game was really long. I played it for around 25 hours, so I can talk about it. So even though I played it a long time ago, I can still vividly remember this game in my head. So yeah. So anyway, let's get back on track. So the main characters was this woman, and she actually I won't say that. That's spoilers. But Bagley was the main protagonist, and then it was this other hacker woman, and then there was another one that was a journalist or something, and then there was just your main characters that you picked. And if I was gonna say anything, I think the main characters were really, really boring. Like, in terms of what they could have done, I think Bagley was the least boring, but at the same time, I didn't really care about Bagley. Like, a lot of people did, but for me, I'm like, I don't care about him. Like, even though he's trying to be funny, sometimes he's just annoying. He's actually annoying. And yeah, that's what I want to say about the main characters. There isn't really much to say. There is Nigel Castle. I've already explained that, but yeah. Okay, gameplay. The strongest point about this game is gameplay. Now, gameplay is one of the best things to happen to Legion. Now, there are so many guns you can choose from. There are different paints. The only thing I really would have wanted for the paints, the guns, is you go into a shop, you buy paints, or you go back to the thingy. You know, the 3D printer from Watch Dogs 2. That was awesome. I really like the amount of variety you had with the hacks. Like, I really like the cloak, the drone, the what do you call it? The spider bot. There was a couple more, but that was really cool. I really like the addition of parkour between different characters, and the fighting with the punches is like great. Like, it's not phenomenal, but it's just really good. The gunplay was just how you expect gunplay in any Watch Dogs game, except it had a lot more variety, and also you would actually somewhat were able to notice a difference in the aiming precision of each character. So depending how old your character is, they might have worse aiming or better aiming, which is really cool. I like that tweak to gameplay there. So I really like the execution moves. That was really cool. But some of the execution moves were kind of broken, and especially when you would try and hack something, like you know how you would interact with a thing, like a thing on the wall, like you would hack it. It kind of glitch sometimes. Like your character would do some really strange animations, and sometimes you would T-pose, and that was really weird. I don't have any gameplay, but that happened to me like once or twice. But probably that's not even in the game now, because that was like launch day that happened. So obviously I can't really say anything about that. Okay, so when it came to one last final thing I want to say about the gameplay is, sometimes when you would do these parkour runs, I think this could have be done a little bit better. The parkour was massively downgraded from Watch Dogs 2, but the parkour still isn't bad. You just need to add a lot more moves, but I understand the reason why that couldn't be happened, because there were a lot more things that they had to do for this game. Like, for example, code all the characters, because you got to remember, guys, when they're making NPCs, you can't just put a controller, like make NPCs have controls. You got to actually make their face, because in Watch Dogs 2, if you notice, all of the characters have the similar details, like the main characters, and all of the NPCs have really like trash faces. Like their faces are massively downgraded, so they actually have to design every single NPC in Watch Dogs Legion, which is really impressive for Ubisoft. So I say that's a massive win in terms of gameplay and what they could have done with it. But I don't want to see this mechanic again of play as everyone, because it really boggles down the experience with the personality. So yeah, let's move on to what was it again? Sorry. Let's move on to missions. Now, missions was a really big problem with this game. The missions were fine themselves, but the amount of repetitiveness, you would go in, steal something, or do something, then leave. You'd rinse and repeat, and it was really, really annoying. I liked how in Watch Dogs 2 there was a lot more variety, like you would go and steal a spider drone or something, like a massive one. Then there was a lot of missions where Marcus would go underground. Aiden Pierce as well, when he would like try and hunt down his murderer of... this I haven't played Watch Dogs 1 since like 2016, but I've played Watch Dogs 2 a lot. But yeah, that was my main issue with the missions. But when it came to performance is a lot better now. It's still about 25 to 30 frames, but that's really fair considering that everyone's playable. It just wouldn't make sense for it to run 60. I think when it came to launch day, it was really bad. Like I'd hit around 17 to 20 frames, and I was on Xbox One X, which is at the time was the most powerful console in the world. So yeah, well obviously now the PS5 and Series X is way more powerful, but I'm talking about like this was before the launch of them. So yeah. So if I was to give Watch Dogs Legion a score, I'd give it a 7.4 out of 10. It's not a bad game involving gameplay. Some repetitiveness, but apart from that, the story is decent with Sky Larsen. That was kind of like cool. Aiden, what is it? Nigel Castle was really boring. He had like a boss fight, but it was really easy. It's like taking down an NPC. Yeah. The game in terms of difficulty, really easy, except like 2 missions. Like there was one with a drone, and they kept shooting you. But in terms of everything else, that was probably one of the easiest Watch Dogs games. I think 2 is the hardest, definitely. I think that's it. And I think if you were to give me a overall opinion about Watch Dogs 1, 2, and Legion, or Watch Dogs 3, I would say Watch Dogs 2 is the best, because it really did combine the characters, made you actually feel like you care about the characters. You need to care about characters. You can't just have them there as a placeholder for gameplay. You actually need to put work into your characters, and once you have those characters established, and you actually care about them and you want to go on missions, then that enhances the story. Like when I go in a building as Marcus, I'm like, oh god, I hope Marcus don't die. So yeah, with my character, I'm like, I don't care if you die. Who even are you? Yeah, but I think in terms of everything to do with this game, it was great in gameplay, especially when you could different operatives had different like abilities. That was really cool. And if I need to add anything to this review, I'll just while I'm editing, I'll add it at the end. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. And it's not even a good like proper professional review. Took me like this script took me like what 2 hours? Yeah, 2 hours to write. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I just did this in my spare time. I hope you enjoy Watch Dogs Legion. If I'm being honest, buy the game for the gameplay, the online. I wouldn't recommend the story. If you want a really good story experience, play Watch Dogs 1 and 2. I think you can get them in a bundle on Steam as well. So yeah, I'll see you later, guys. Bye. I think I've voice cracked more times in this video than I actually talked. I don't know, maybe because I just voice cracked. Bye. Hey guys, I'm back, Future Juicy. I hope I didn't just kill your brain cells with my cringe, but welcome back to me. And I just wanted to say I missed a couple points. So the first point is I missed a massive gameplay point, and it's basically, you know, each operator has their own set of abilities, so that's really cool about gameplay. And something else that's really cool about this game is the London setting. You drive around London. It's amazing. Probably one of my most favorite things to do in this game is drive around London. It's actually really fun. If you guys want to do that. Anyway, that was pretty much all I had to say. And I hope this isn't going to be the third time next time where I forget to say something about this game. Bye.